Today we're getting under the hood with Amanda Antune, a daughter, sister, friend, women's advocate, and a registered nutritionist and holistic health advocate. She is dedicated to helping individuals achieve holistic health and well-being through mindful, evidence-based nutrition. Born in London and raised in Brazil, Amanda now resides in Portugal. So English is her second language, everybody, where she offers online consultations to clients worldwide. Her approach focuses on mindful eating, behavioral nutrition, and empowering clients to build a balanced, healthy, sustainable relationship with food. Amanda's journey reflects a deep commitment to advancing women's health and wellness through both scientific insight and compassionate care. Specializing in behavioral eating and plant-based nutrition, she supports clients in finding peace in their eating habits and feeling truly at home in their bodies. She believes in the transformative power of nutrition, both on an individual and societal level. Supporter of the phrase, eating is a political act, as every food choice can impact our health and wider environmental and social issues. Wow, welcome, Amanda.
Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being a part of this amazing project.
Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited. We're women making the world healthier, and you're doing so much in the nutrition and the conscious eating space. So I'm so excited to get under the hood with you today. If it's okay, can we get going?
Yes, of course.
So I ask every woman this question, and I think it's a great beginning point for the conversation. And it's really about, what was the inflection point? What was that moment that got you in and on this journey of health and wellness and healthy eating?
I feel like, in a way, my path has been discovered during the process into wellness, into health, into nutrition. I wasn't really planning on getting into this career or choosing the area that I would be working on, but things started to happen and I felt more and more connected during the way. So when I started my studies in 2015, I was still discovering nutrition and was quite exciting actually. I At the moment that I started uni, I discovered that food was way more than I thought it was before, because I didn't have the enough knowledge to understand the impact on our bodies, because that's what you at first start to study in uni. And then also brought me to a bigger consciousness about my food choices. I started to see more things and study more about the impact of my choices. So I decided to stop eating meat. I became vegetarian for a couple of years, and also that made me feel more enthusiastic about having more knowledge of about what I eat, how that would impact the society, how that has an environmental impact. And that was one of the main things that led me to stop eating meat for that time. Then I became a pescatarian. And during all that process, I feel like studying is what made me feel passionate about nutrition. So getting knowledge made me feel the comfort that I would be able to help people with it.
Well, thank you for that. And that's amazing. And I think what's really wonderful, Amanda, is your journey began at a young age. I mean, when you think about that, really becoming conscious of what you're eating. And, as we discussed in previous conversations, the whole notion of your generation being a conscious generation when it comes to eating, even more so. So I'd love for you to sort of describe your thoughts on conscious eating and the behavioral eating that we spoke about in your intro.
Yeah, so I think the conscious part of this generation can be so helpful, because actually people are talking more about it, about the impact on our food choices in our lives, what it makes us feel good, what is not, what is healthy, what's unhealthy. Unfortunately, I do think that is a little bit too much information around, and what makes me worry a little bit as a health professional, because it's a conscious generation, but it's also overwhelmed by information in a way. Me as a health professional, as a nutritionist, I try to guide people to what they actually should be guided for. And I believe that this is the right way to be conscious about what you eat, like having information that you trust, and therefore use those to make conscious food choices. And behavior eating can be related to that. So my choice, for example, for stop eating meat back then and changing the way that I eat, this is a something related to behavior eating because this is a way that food connects with self-being, about my choices and about how I feel towards food. And I believe that this is all connected in a way.
That's interesting. How would you define? So it's interesting. I love the fact that you put behavioral eating in the context of yourself. How would you define that? So if you were telling the audience and you were meeting with a group of women and allies and you were talking about, this is what behavioral eating is, just to sort of give context.
So behavior eating is a very broad subject because actually food is way more than just what you eat, just the macros and nutrients. That's a really big part of it and very important. But the behavior part of it is related to what brings you to the moment of choice. So what you choose to eat and what led you there. So it can be related to what your historical family habits are, or the place that you live, or what you feel comfort eating. How do you feel when with some type of food? Even the basic thing like, oh, I'm more of a sweet person, I'm more of a savory person. This is also behavior eating. In a more deeper level, can be also the impact of the food choices and how you feel towards, for example, if we think about eating disorders or disordered eating, which is so common, so that something that we have to work on in a clinical situation is getting away a little bit of that uncomfortable feeling of too much consciousness on those aspects when we get to a point that this is gets to be unhealthy for you. So behavior eating can be related to that, can be related to your social space. So if you're influenced by who's around you, what they eat, how they eat. So basically, it's everything that surrounds our choices and how we make them and why we make them.
Thank you for that. I'm curious, nutrition, emotional eating connected to behavioral, and if you were to describe that relationship, that would be really helpful, I think.
Yes, yes. So emotional eating is something that we hear a lot, that people eat their emotions. That's the phrase that we use, right? And it's related to behavior eating because it's a type of behavior, is a type of pattern that usually people leads to when they're feeling anxious or sad or even happy. They use food as a source of feeling good, but also food can be related to a celebration moment. All connected can be an emotional positive, having food as an emotional eating, but also can be detrimental to your relationship with your well-being and like your mind state because sometimes if you're having issues mentally and you're only using food to suppress them, you're not actually going to be dealing with the emotions that has to be dealt with, and you're going to go to the easiest way, slightly easiest way, which will be the comforting of food. Typical behavior that we see nowadays, unfortunately, it happened a lot with COVID. A lot of people inside lockdown, feeling anxious, feeling sad, feeling worried, and using food to suppress all those emotions. The thing is that food can be helpful on those aspects, can be something that we led to, that we go for when we're feeling that we need some comfort, but it's very hard when we only use food for that. We actually, what's going on inside, or we don't use other sources of feeling good as exercising, as being outside, outdoors, as being with people that we love, and finding the balance with all of that, I think is the real key.
And I kind of want to go back because we got right into, the conscious eating, which is part of, what you work on. But as you've been on this journey, so as I said, you were really young when you got going in university. Now you've been out of university and pursuing it. Like, what is your passion? What areas would you say your focus is and what you got excited about and why?
I think my first passion was plant-based nutrition for sure because I started to see the impact of our choices on the environmental state of our not country but our planet, and that made me feel powerful in a way because there is that thought that oh, one person wouldn't change much, but if everyone thinks like that, we wouldn't be making huge changes, right? So I feel like this was my first passion, understanding how my food choices, just one thing that I'm doing, can impact so much if I can guide more people to do the same. So sharing information about that made me feel very fulfilled in a way, and understanding that food that came from nature has such a beautiful, powerful impact on our health and our bodies that we can be a better version of ourselves, be healthier, feel better, sleep better when we have a good nutritional support. So I feel that was one of the first things that made me appreciate nutrition so much, seeing the actual impact that it can have on someone's life, someone's health, someone's well-being. And then during this process, I also got very interested in the behavior eating part. So many people struggling with food that has all those benefits, all those amazing things. It brought something in me that I felt like I need to help these people change this mindset because they're losing something there. The food should not be something that they're scared of. And there's so many people scared of food nowadays. I feel like that was a combination of things that made me really appreciate my work and be very passionate about sharing that with the world.
So I think that's really interesting because, again, going back to your introduction, really talking about what your passion is about is having a wider environmental and social impact. So as you've been traveling on this journey, what type of clients are you seeing? Talk a little bit about your client base and sort of how you're approaching this knowledge and this guidance with the people you're working with.
Well, that's quite exciting, to be honest, because it took me a while to start actually acting as a nutritionist, working because of my change of countries and all of that. So I got even quite emotional when I started because I was so excited to do it, and has been great so far. I get access to my clients mainly through social media, through internet, which is brilliant. This is a good thing about pandemic, unfortunately. Everything was really bad, but this possibility to reach people from all around the world and feel comfortable having online consultations and online support, I think that made it easier, not just in my profession, but also like therapy and all of that, that made it a little bit easier for people. So I got clients from Brazil, from Canada, from Sweden, Italy, Germany, so many different places. And it started with some connections, friends, and then of not having boundaries because of the internet and this is something, I guess, a little bit of my generation, which is so exciting how people can connect so much. And I feel like a lot of clients came for me because of they had vegetarian diets and they were either struggling because they didn't know how to make a balanced meal, how to have a healthy vegetarian diet, plant-based diet, because just cutting out a group of food doesn't mean that that's the right choice. So you have a lot of things that you need to work on and be aware, and if necessary, supplement. And I feel like because of my studies and experience on that area, a lot of people came to me being sure that they would have a good guidance on those aspects. When I started getting clients that had the connection with plant-based and struggled with behavior eating, it made me feel like, okay, so this is the group of people that I can help the most also. So that was quite exciting. I had some clients coming with those aspects.
You have clients who are already plant-based. What are you seeing from a behavioral nutrition issue side of it? I would just assume, Amanda, when I hear that they're already plant-based, that they have a pretty healthy mindset and pretty good behaviors as it relates to eating because they're already vegan, if you will. Where are you seeing the challenges there?
The thing about behavior it compounds so many different aspects. This is actually something quite interesting to share that my thesis on uni was based on analyzing the level of mindful eating in people who had different eating patterns, omnivorous, vegetarian, vegan, and flexitarian. And I wanted to see if the people who decided to cut off animal products of their diets would be more mindful about their eating habit and all their choices. And actually, I saw that on my results, which was quite exciting because I've never seen any studies that were approaching that connection. I would say that on those aspects of thinking outside the box, of going outside of the automatic way of eating, which would be eating meat on a daily basis, those people do have a more conscious eating. They do have more awareness of what they're eating, but the behavior, as we were talking before about the connection with emotional eating and all of that, can also be centered on that aspect. And sometimes just because someone has a healthy diet doesn't mean that they feel comfortable with food or feel comfortable with their selves, with their bodies. There is something that I see a lot. I didn't mention that on the last question, but there's a lot of people obviously looking for my services to weight loss, have better body composition, or because they feel like they need to lose some weight because they gain weight or any situation like that. I see that there is a combination of those things. Being healthy doesn't actually, eating a healthy diet doesn't actually mean that you have a healthy relationship with food.
Just because you're eating healthy doesn't mean you have a healthy relationship to food. That is fascinating. Can you talk about that?
We do have an actual eating disorder, which is called orthorexia, which is basically this obsession on eating healthy or of eating the right things. And I would say that that's the limit, in a way, the extent of this obsession with the healthiest way of eating possible. We do have people that are not on that level, but they eat healthy, and maybe they're gonna be scared of having a birthday cake, for example, on their parents' birthday. And that's where I come in, I believe, because making people understand that being healthy is about balance, actually, that you can have sometimes something that is not going to be nutritionally completely clean or sugar free or gluten free or anything like that. And it's gonna be fine, because if the person doesn't have any health issues, obviously, it's gonna be fine, because food is also about enjoying the moment, is about cultural situations, is about emotional moments with the people that you love, with loved ones. So I guess I obviously want people to be healthy physically, but I also want them to be healthy mentally, and being feeling open to food and not feeling that food controls you. I feel like that's where I usually go to.
I like that. I really like that. I think that's very interesting. And I think the word that comes out for me that stands out is really finding that balance, because you can, enjoy all those and have a healthy diet, if you will, that plant-based or pescatarian or whatever it is, but you have to be able to enjoy those moments as well. One of the things I was curious about with the clients that you work with, the people you work with, are they already plant-based people? Are they sitting on the fence and kind of curious? Because you mentioned that you're working with the weight loss. So do you transform them into that, or is that more focusing on overall good nutrition, not necessarily plant-based? Or are you seeing a myriad of types of clients?
I don't change the way that my clients eat to plant-based if they don't have the want to do it, if they're not coming to me asking for it, or if they already have a diet that is plant-based and they want to get more or something. But I do give them the option and the information. So if you do, I ask, would you like to have a plant-based option on your nutritional plan? If they do, I'll give them the information how to do it healthy, how to do it balanced. So I do give the information, but I usually get people that either are omnivorous or they already vegetarian, flexitarian, or vegans. I did have, depending on the time of the year, I see a difference. Beginning of the year, I usually have people wanting to decrease the amount of meat that they're eating. And I think that's quite exciting. And that's my moment to share information and see if they would like that. Because I do believe that it's a healthier choice, not for your body, but also for the environment, thinking long term on this planet, to have a more flexible diet would be the best choice.
So, like, if you could give a day in the life of Amanda and how you approach your nutrition and the way you think about it. So, it's not just what you're eating, but it's also the mindset because you talk a lot about mindful eating in terms of that. How do you do that?
I am quite passionate about mindful eating because I saw the change on how I can experience food through it. So I do apply on myself as well. But basically, for example, my breakfast, I usually have my breakfast really conscious with no distractions because it's one of my favorite moments of the day and one of my favorite meals. So I'm gonna have my bowl of porridge, oatmeal with my fruit and my coffee, and really, really enjoy that. And I think that's brilliant. As I said, I think that food can have moments to eat unhealthy as well, and that's okay. So I allow myself to have a little treat if I need to, or if it's the environmental situation for that, which is fine. I tend to eat the I mainly I want my food to be balanced, but I also want to be comforting. I want it to be easy. I love cooking though, which makes it a little bit easier. But I think it's really important for everyone to understand how is their environment, how is their house, how can you make eating healthier, easier for you. So what do you like to eat? How can we make that tastier? How can we prepare more maybe and leave it for next days? How can we make quick, healthy meals if you don't have enough time? Problem solving during the day and nutrition is something that I apply for myself, and I try to give that to my clients as well. So I guess it's quite like a helpful mindset on eating healthy because sometimes we really don't think outside the box. We think, oh, we don't have anything ready, so I'm just gonna have to have a piece of toast with butter or something. And like maybe you can get a little bit of a better choice. That's something that I apply with my conscious eating in a way on my daily routine. Having something vegetable, something with color every meal, and enjoying it and looking for the signs of my body. How do I feel? If I feel hungry, if I feel fulfilled, if I want something warm, if I want something cold. So really being conscious about that makes me have a way more pleasurable moment with food, I guess.
I love that. And I love the way you begin with your breakfast and the consciousness, no distractions. I think that's a wonderful message to tell people because whatever you're eating, if you can just savor it, you probably slow down a little. How do you feel? Speaking first person, you're doing all these things. How does it make you feel with the way you eat and all the things you do throughout the day?
First of all, it makes me feel very happy because I love the food that I eat. So it makes me feel happy and I enjoy it. And I think that's what I would like people to have as well when they're eating healthy. They're feeling also happy, not to be a burden to eat a healthy meal. But I tend to, as I said, balance my meals a lot so I don't have energy spikes, for example. I have this conscious about having always some protein and fiber sources of my meals, which is going to help me to have a more stable energy level during the day. I have a very good night's sleep, which I think is brilliant. And I enjoy sleeping a lot. I enjoy being active in the morning. And I feel like my nutrition, the way that I eat, help me to get that balance and to get that energy on the way that I need. And obviously, each person is different, each routine is different, but I do believe that eating the right meals with the right amounts and nutrients for you is going to guide you to have that benefit as well.
It's really interesting when you eat clean, how good that feels. I'm curious, Amanda, you're young in your career. How do you see your future? Like, what are you thinking about, near term, longer term? What are you hoping for as it relates to you and your business in this space?
I do love doing consultations and helping people. I would love to keep doing that as much as I can, reaching out more people from anywhere. Now I'm doing consultations in private here in Portugal as well, which is also exciting because I have a deeper connection with the culture here and the people in this country, which is the country that I'm living. So I think that's also an important thing to do. As I said in the start, I do really like to study. And I see myself doing something academical long term. I would like to start a master's and maybe another like doctorate, maybe teach at some point. So these are dreams for the future, but I really enjoy sharing knowledge, and I feel that there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to share. And my views on that is reaching out the most amount of people that I can and hopefully get people feeling better about the way that they deal with food and the way that they feel with themselves in physical and mental state.
I think it's going to be amazing to watch you grow and in your career and everything you're doing. And I like the fact that you want to go back and you're thinking about academia and teaching because you're teaching right now one on one, but imagine teaching more collectively. So I think you're going to have a wonderfully bright future. This has been an very interesting conversation. You've made, my eyes are just so open, and I feel so much more conscious after this. I would love for you to give a message to women. This is your platform of all cultures, of all backgrounds, of all ages. What do you want to share with them, Amanda?
I guess I'd like to mainly share that for me, food is an essential part of who we are. It's not only an vital for our survival, for filling our energy, vitamins, minerals, all of that, but it also holds a deep cultural and emotional significance. So it connects us to our roots, our traditions, the people that we love. Our food choices are shaped by where we live, how we grow up, and the family that we belong to. So, as a nutritionist, I'm really here to share this message to honor and explore all the influences, recognizing the importance of everything that shapes our relationship with food. My goal is to really guide people towards a balanced connection with food where it becomes both an ally and a source of comfort, I guess. So I'm really hoping that this chat can enlighten a bit of that in people.
I think that's a wonderful message. And Amanda, thank you so much for getting under the hood with me today and for all of the amazing work you're doing, guiding people towards a healthier relationship to food and eating. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Elizabeth. That was a great experience.
Thanks for listening to Under the Sisterhood. If you haven't already, please give us a quick rating and review on Apple or Spotify. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn so you can hear from more amazing women. This podcast is created and hosted by Under the Sisterhood LLC and Elizabeth Elfenbein, produced by Elizabeth Elfenbein and Matt Butler, and edited by Matt Butler. The music is by Ayla Schaefer. Her song, Rose.